Good evening. Yes. Hello. Welcome to another live stream by yours truly, Mr. Knows It All, except he doesn't. But yeah, welcome. Tonight we're gonna read another visual novel. It's gonna be a lot of fun, I presume. I want to have a lot of fun, but you never know. Right now, just enjoy slow piano and guitar in the background. With the falling rain sounds. Close your eyes. Imagine you're in a cabin in the middle of the woods. You're with friends or with family, people who in general you like. Someone starts playing the piano, playing this tune. Someone else grabs a guitar from the storage. Outside as it's raining, you hear soft thunder in the distance. But you know you're safe. You're sitting by the hearth, feel the warmth of the fire, with a small blanket over your lap. Life is good. Life is enjoyable. Okay, I'm sorry for that. Anywho, sorry to wake you up from the dream, but I think I should get started. One more thing. Bum 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 bum. There we go. Yeah, I'm already in the correct scene because it's an older game, so yeah, it's from 2010, if I'm correct. But this game was made for Windows XP, XP, Vista, at best. So the resolution is also a bit large. And what's so pixelated? But oh my god, that's really bad for. How is it that bad? Oh, come on. Why must you do me like this? But this is not working at all. Why so small for when I switch scenes? Oh. But I can't. This is annoying. Let me try something. That also doesn't work. If I knew it was gonna be this annoying, I could try. It's a display capture. I should have figured this out before I started. Of course, OBS doesn't support this kind of shit. No. It just doesn't want to for some fucking reason. Oh, this is annoying. Why? Why do you do this to me? Okay, does this work? Up. For fuck's sake. It's starting to piss me off. Automatic. Yes. Okay. What if I enlarge it like this? Does this work? Oh. May have found a method. I have no idea. Sorry. Hi, Faith. Clean legs, yes. Yeah, it's OBS is a bit annoying today. It doesn't want to capture the window, but if I capture the normal screen, it does this. It just won't fail properly for some reason. And the music is fine. Ugh. I can do it like this. Trial and error. Trial and error. Okay, a little bit smaller. Should work. Okay. There we go. That should work. If I set it to windowed, it's like a tiny little screen. Yeah, this is fine enough. Like I said, this game was made for 600 by 800 monitors, and for Windows Vista, my 4K screen is not proper. Yeah. But hey, this works. Fine and dandy. Alright, with that out of the way, finally. Check the options. Okay. Disabled adult content. I'm sorry, no horny today. Otherwise we'll go back to playing Subnautica somewhere. Alright. Let's begin. A light breeze causes the naked branches overhead to rattle like wooden wind chimes. This is a popular retreat for couples in the summer. The deciduous trees provide a beautiful green canopy, far out of sight of teachers and fellow students. But now, in late winter, it feels like I'm standing under a pile of kindle. I breathe into my occupied hands and rub them together, furiously to prevent them from numbing in this cold. Just how long am I expected to wait out here? And anyway, I'm sure the note said 4 p.m. Ah, yes, the note. Slipped between the pages of my math book while I wasn't looking. As far as clichés go, I'm more of a fan of the letter in the locker, but at least this way shows a bit of initiative. As I ponder the meaning of the note, the snowfall gradually thickens. The snowflakes silently falling from the white painted sky are the only sign of time passing in this stagnant world. Their slow descent upon the frozen forest makes it seem like time has slowed to a crawl. The rustling of dry snow underfoot startles me, interrupting the quiet mood. Someone is approaching me from behind. Hi, Isao. You came. A hesitating, barely audible question. However, I recognize the owner of that dainty voice instantly. I feel my heart skip a beat. It's a voice I've listened to hundreds of times, but never more as an eavesdropper to a conversation. I turn my face to this voice, the voice of my dreams. My heart begins to race. Ivanako? I got a note telling me to wait here. It was yours? Damn it. I spent all afternoon trying to come up with a good line and that was the result? Pathetic. Yes. I asked a friend to give you that note. I'm so glad you got it. A shy, joyous smile that makes me so tense I couldn't move a single muscle, even if I tried. Dunk dunk. My heart is pounding, as if it were trying to burst out of my chest and claim this girl for itself. So, here we are, out in the cold. Once again, the wind stirs up and the branches. The canopa's noise is music to my ears. Ivanakov flinches ever so softly against the gust of the wind. As it passes, she rights herself as if supported by new confidence. Her eyes lock with mine. She lazily twirls her long, dark hair around her finger. All the while, the anxious beating of my heart grows louder. My throat is tight. I doubt I could even force a word out if I tried. You see, I wanted to know if you'd go out with me? I stand there, motionless, save for my pounding heart. I want to say something in reply, but my vocal cords feel like they've been stretched beyond the breaking point. Isao? I reach up to try and massage my throat, but it only sends spikes of blinding pain along my arms. Isao? My whole body freezes, save for my eyes, which shoot open in terror. Isao! The beating of my heart in my chest suddenly stops, and I go weak at my knees. The world around me, the canopy of bare branches, the dull winter sky, Ivanako running towards me, all these fade to black. The last thing I remember before slipping away are the sounds of Ivanako screaming for help, and the incessant clatter of the branches above. Death. Damn, how many parallels can a game pull? Oh. The start always gets me for some reason. As time ticks on, so does the world. But will you have a place in it? I don't know where that came from. Don't mind me. It's been 4 months since my heart attack. In that whole time, I can probably count the times I've left this hospital room unsupervised on one hand. 4 months is a pretty long time when you're left alone with your thoughts. So I've had plenty of time to come to terms with my situation. Arrhythmia. A strange word. A foreign, alien one. One that you don't want to be in the same room with. A rare condition. It causes the heart to act erratically and occasionally beat way too fast. It can be fatal. Apparently I've had it for a long time, they said. They said it was a miracle that I was able to go so long without anything happening. Is it really a miracle? I guess it was supposed to make me feel better. More appreciative of my life. It really didn't do anything to cheer me up. My parents, I think, were hit harder by the news than I was. They practically had 2 hemorrhages apiece. I already had a full day by then to digest everything. To them, it was all fresh. They were even willing to sell our house in order to pay for a cure. Of course, there isn't a cure. Because of the late discovery of this condition, I had to stay at the hospital to recuperate from treatments. When I was first admitted, it felt as I was missed. For about a week in my room in the ward was full of flowers, balloons and cards. But the visitors soon dwindled, and all the get well gifts began to trickle down nothing shortly after. I realized that the only reason I had gotten so many cards and flowers was because sending me their sympathy had turned into a class project. Maybe some people were genuinely concerned, but I doubt it. Even in the beginning, I barely had visitors. By the end of the first month, only my parents came by on a regular basis. Iwanako was the last to stop visiting. After 6 weeks, I never saw her again. We never had that much to talk about when she visited anyway. We didn't touch the subject that was between us on that snowy day ever again. The hospital? It's not really a place I'd like to live in. The doctors and nurses feel so impersonal and faceless. I guess it's because they are in a hurry and they have a million other patients waiting for them, but it makes me feel uncomfortable. For the first month or so, I asked the head cardiologist every time I saw him for a rough estimate when I'd be able to leave. He never answered anything in a straightforward way, but told me to wait and see if the treatment and surgeries worked. So I idly observed. The scar that those surgeries had left on my chest slowly changed its appearance over time. Thinking of it as some kind of omen. I still asked the head cardiologist about leaving, but my expectations are low enough now that I am not disappointed anymore when I don't get a reply. The way he shuffles around the answer shows that there's at least some hope. At some point, I stopped watching TV. I don't know why, I just did. Maybe it was the wrong kind of escapism for my situation. I started reading instead. It was a small library at the hospital, although it was more like a storeroom for books. I began working my way through it, one small stack at a time. After consuming them, I would go back for more. I found that I liked reading, and I found out that I liked reading, and I think it became a little addicted. I started feeling naked without a book in my hands. But I loved the stories. That was what my life was like. The days became increasingly harder to distinguish from each other, differing only by the book I was reading, and the weather outside. It felt like time blurred into some kind of gooey mass. I was trapped inside, instead of moving within. A week could go by without me really noticing it. Sometimes I'd pause in realization that I didn't know what day of the week it was. me in the lockdown be like. But other times, all the things that surrounded me would painfully crash into my consciousness through the barrier of nonchalance I had set up for myself. The pages of my book would start to feel sharp and burning hot, and the heaviness in my chest would become so hard to bear that I'd had to put my book aside and just lay down for a while, looking at the ceiling as if I was going to cry. But that happened only rarely. And I couldn't even cry. Today the doctor comes and gives me a smile. He seems excited, but not very. It's like he's trying to make an effort to be happy on my behalf. My parents are here. It's been a few days since I have last seen them. Both of them are even sort of dressed up. Is this supposed to be some kind of special occasion? It's all a party. There's this ritual in my head the head cardiologist has. He takes his time sorting his papers, then setting them aside as if to make a point of the pointlessness it was what he just did. Then he casually sits down on the edge of the bed, next to mine. He looks at me in the eyes for a moment. Hello, Isao. How are you today? I don't know how to answer him, yet I smile a little, back at him. I believe that you can go home. Your heart is stronger now, and with some precautions you should be fine. We have all your medications sorted out. I'll give your father the prescription. The doctor hands a sheet of paper to my dad, whose expression turns as wooden as he reads it quickly. So many. I take it from his hands and take a look for myself, feeling numb. How am I supposed to react to this? The absurdly long list of medications staring back at me from the paper seems insurmountable. They all blend together in a sea of letters. This is insane. The side effects, adverse effects, contradictions, and dosages are all listed line after line with cold precision. I try to read them, but it's so futile. I can't understand any of it, and attempting to only makes me feel sicker. And this, for the rest of my life, every day? I'm afraid that's the best we can do at this point. However, new medications are always being developed, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that list fade over the years. Years? What kind of confidence booster is that? Would have felt better if he hadn't said anything at all. Also, I've spoken with your parents, and we believe that it would be best if you don't return to your old school. What? Please calm down, Isao. Listen to what the doctor has to say. Calm down? The way he says it tells me he knew full and well that I wouldn't like it. Am I going to be homeschooled? Whatever my concern shows, it's ignored. We all understand that your education is paramount. However, I don't think that it's wise for you to be without supervision. At least, not until we're sure that your medication is suitable. So I've spoken to your parents about a transfer. It's a school called Yamaku Academy that specializes in dealing with disabled students. Disabled? What? And I. It has 24-hour nursing staff and is only a few minutes from a highly regarded hospital. The major students of the majority of the students live on campus. Think of it as a boarding school of sorts. It's designed to give students a degree of independence while keeping help nearby. Independence? It's a school for disabled kids. Don't try to disguise that fact. If it was really that free, then why there wouldn't be 24-hour nursing staff, and you wouldn't make a hospital being nearby a selling point. Of course, that's only if you want to go, but your mother and I aren't really able to homeschool you. We went out there and had a look for a couple of weeks back. I think you'd like it. It looks like I really don't have a choice. Compared to the other heart problems, people with your younger condition usually tend to live long lives. You'll need a job one day, and it's a good opportunity to continue your education. This isn't an opportunity. Don't call it an opportunity. It's not a goddamn opportunity. Well, you should be excited at the change of going back to school. And remember you wanted to return to school and... well, it's not the same one. A special school, that's... an insult? That's what I want to say. It's a step down. It's not what you think. All of the students there are pretty active in their own sort of way. It's geared towards students that can still get around and learn, but just need a little help, one way or another. Your father is right. There are many of the graduates of the school have gone to do amazing things. A person doesn't have to be held back by their disability. One of my colleagues in another hospital is a graduate. I don't care. A person doesn't have to be held back by their disability. That's what a disability is! I really hate that something so important was decided for me, but what can I do about it now? A normal life is out of the question now. It's funny. I always had thought that my life was actually kind of boring. But now I miss it. I want to protest. I want to blame the lack of reaction on shock or fatigue. I could easily yell out something now. Something about how I can go back to my old school anyway. But no. I don't see anything. The fact is that I know it's futile. I look around the room, feeling very tired of all of this. The hospital, doctors, my condition, everything. I don't see anything. I don't see anything that would make me feel any different. There really isn't a choice. I know this, but the thought of going to a disabled school, what are those even like? As much as I try to put it into a positive spin on it, it's very difficult. But let me try. A clean slate isn't a bad thing. That is all I can think of to get me through this. At least, I still have something, even if it's a special school. It's something. It's a fresh start, and my life isn't over. It would be mistaken to just resign myself to think that. Sorry. At least, at the very least, I'll try and see what my new life looks like. Will look like. Bum 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 bum. Act 1, Life Expectancy. The gate looked far more pompous for what it was. In fact, gates in general seem to do that, but this one especially so. Red bricks, black wrought iron and grey plaster assembled into a whole that didn't feel welcoming at all. I wondered if it looked like what a gate from a school would look like, but I couldn't really decide. Probably no. Of course, I didn't want to get stuck on thinking about the gate for too long, so I entered through it with a brisk pace. It felt surprisingly good. Moving forward feels good. So I walk towards the main building of Yamaku Academy with this brisk pace. I'm alone as my parents are taking my stuff to the dorms, and there's supposed to be someone waiting for me. The grounds are incredibly lush, filled with green. It doesn't feel like the kind of grounds a school would have. More like a park with a clean walkway. Okay, turn the music a bit down. Oh. Return. It doesn't feel like the kind of grounds a school would have. More like a park with a clean walkway going past the trees and the smell of freshly cut grass and all other park-like things. Words like clean and hygienic pop into my mind. Makes me shudder. I shake them off. Stay open-minded now. This is your new life. You have to take it as it comes. That's what I tell myself. A few big buildings loom behind the leafy canopies. Too big, too many of them for just a school. Everything seems off. It's different from what I thought I knew about schools. It's an uncanny valley. Even though I was told this is my new school, in the back of my head it doesn't feel like one. I wonder if the feeling is really real or caused by my expectations of a school for disabled. Speaking of that, I don't see anyone else here. It's kind of eerie. It makes me wish there was somebody here so I could anchor myself to something tangible instead of having this feeling that I stepped into another dimension. The trees hum with the wind, and the green hues flashing all around me catch my attention. It makes me think about the hospitals. How they say that the operating rooms are painted green because green is a calming color. So why am I feeling so anxious despite all this greenery? Only after I stand in front of the haughty main building, I surprised myself by realizing why the gate bothered me. It was the last chance I had to turn back. Even if I had no life I could return to. But still, after entering, there was absolutely no way I could go back anymore. Feeling nervous and with this realization I set in my head, I opened the front door. A tall man with bad posture notices me as I enter. We're the only people in the lobby, so it's logical. You must be Nikki? Nakai. So you are, excellent. I'm your homeroom and science teacher. My name is Mito. Welcome. We exchange a handshake that neither is firm nor sloppy. and he looks at his watch. The head nurse asked you for a brief check-in visit, but there's no time for that now. Oh, should I go later? Yes, afternoon is probably fine. We should get going and introduce you to the rest of the class. They were already waiting. Waiting for me? I don't really like being the center of attention, but I guess it's inevitable in a situation like this. Somehow not knowing what is waiting for me makes me feel really nervous. Thinking of this, I almost miss what the teacher is saying. Do you want to introduce yourself to the class? Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. I mean, isn't that normal? Of course, but not everyone likes to be the center of attention. I'm probably one of those people, but I guess I should be the one to give the first impression of myself. Right, but it's no problem. Let's go then. My heart is pounding in my chest, and it keeps me thinking about my condition as I follow the teacher up the stairs. Third floor, third door down. Oh, third door down, the third floor corridor is marked as the classroom for class 3-3. Beto opens the door as I and enters. Morning, everyone. Sorry, I'm late again. I hesitate for a split second at the door, freezing on the spot. Get a grip. It's a big step, I know that. But there isn't any point in worrying so much about it. At least, not this soon. I follow the teacher into the classroom and look around. Partially so I won't have to meet the curious gazes of my new classmates. It's pretty spacious. The ceiling is unusually high, and there's lots of space left over around and in between the desks. An entire wall taken up by blackboards, and the high old-fashioned windows only make it seem larger. The student desks are just standard wooden desks with a shelf underneath for books and wooden chairs with metal frames. Simple and efficient. I stop walking in front of the class and face the other students. They all look normal, like students in any other school, but then, why would I be here? They're probably like me and have something wrong with them. Only just not immediately obvious then. Notice that one of the girls seems to be missing the thumb on her right hand. It's a little jarring. There she is, thief. Despite the natural tendency to listen when someone is talking about you, I tune out the teacher's speech halfway through while he introduces me to the class. I notice a flash of dark hair and see that someone is looking at me. A girl, really long, straight hair. That is pretty eye-catching. She sees me looking back at her and she covers her face with her hand, as if it will make her invisible. There's one boy with a cane leaning against the lockers at the rear of the class. It's weird seeing someone so young with a cane. Another girl seems to be making some weird hand motions. Sign language? She peers over at me over her rims. Over the rims of her glasses. Then goes back to whatever she was doing. She's kind of cute, so the cheery looking girl with pink hair sitting next to her, she's really hard to miss. I don't know how I didn't notice her the moment I walked in. Please welcome our new classmate. He claps his hands and so does everyone else, except one girl in the first row who only has one hand. I cringe a little, but I hide it by bowing in thanks for this applause I did not deserve. A collective silence tells me that I should open my mouth now. So, I'm Isao Nakai. And after that? My hobbies are reading and soccer. I hope to get along well with everyone, even though I'm a new student. And after that? I'm being so boring. This is exactly like every self-introduction ever. I should say something more exciting. I end up saying nothing, and the teacher picks it up from there. Everyone seems to be satisfied even with what little I said, though. A few girls are whispering to each other, throwing glances at me. It could have gone worse. I listen to the teacher as he drones about getting along while letting my gaze sweep across the classroom. Everyone seems to be listening to him intently, and when he's done, they clap their hands again. Feels like a weird thing to do. The first row girl claps on this round with her one hand against the other's wrist. The other wrist that ends in a bandaged stump. It makes me feel a little bad. We're going to do some group work today, so that'll give you a chance to talk with everyone. Is that okay with you? Yes, fine with me. That's good. You can work with Hakamichi. She's the class representative. She can explain anything to you might want to know. And who else would be able to do that better, right? How would I know? The teacher passed out the day's assignment and announces that we will be working in groups of 3. It hits me that I don't know who Hakamichi is. Slow, the teacher seems to catch my helpless expression. Oh, right. Hakamichi is right there. Shishine Hakamichi. As he calls out her name, the cute, bubbly-looking girl with the bright pink hair and gold eyes waves her hand at me. I take a seat next to her, by the window. Hey, I guess you're Hakamichi, right? Nice to meet you. I'm sorry, Thief, I can't do as good as a Misha voice as you can. What? I'm caught off guard by her laughter. It's nice to meet you too, but I'm not Hakamichi. I'm Misha. This is Hakamichi. Hakamichi. Shi-chan. Giggling, Misha points to the girl next to her. The one I saw using sign language before. It looks like she's been staring at me the whole time. She nods once nonchalantly to show that she acknowledges my presence, but only barely. She has short, yet careful, neatly brushed hair, a pair of oval-shaped glasses, balanced on the tip of her dainty nose, and dark blue eyes that seem to alternate every few seconds between analytical and slightly bored. It's nice to meet you. She immediately looks at Misha, who smiles and makes a few quick gestures with her hands. Nakamichi nods and makes a few gestures of her own. I start to wonder if the teacher was messing with me, saying things like, you'll be able to talk to people, and who'd be better to explain things. I can see you're a little confused, right? Right? But I understand why you would think I was Shi-chan. Shi-chan is deaf, so I'm the person who translates things back and forth for her. I'm like an interpreter. She says nice to meet you too. You're the new student, are you? Well, Shi-chan, of course, he is. If he wasn't, he wouldn't have been standing up there for no reason, right? Right. He seems like a very interesting person, doesn't he? We knew there was going to be a new student, but we didn't know there would be one today, so soon. Hichan, right? Hichan? Yep, it fits, doesn't it? Did I say it out loud? Or it's just a surprise? I've never liked that nickname. I don't really see how. It fits. You look just like I imagined. Huh. Yep, you look just like a Hichan. I wonder why everyone seems to think so. Nakamichi taps her fingers on her desk to get Misha's attention. They gesture back and forth to each other excitedly, their hands in a blur. Misha seems a little overwhelmed. Sorry about that. Shicha wants to know that she's the class rep, so if there's anything you need to know, you can feel free to ask her. Do you like the school so far? We can show you around a little if you haven't had the time to walk around and familiarize yourself with it. Misha stumbles with the hard word a bit, making it stick out in her otherwise fluid translation. Thanks, that would be pretty helpful, yeah. I just kind of came straight to class today. That's no good. You should always try and learn as much as you can about the new school before going there. Not just with school either. Always, even if it's a trip to the convenience store. Really? Shichan? Learn about where you're going? I guess... Learn about where you're going? I guess I didn't bother to do that, or just didn't care enough to do so. I didn't look forward to this, even if I'm committed myself to go along with half-assedly, but anyway. I don't say anything, and Misha signs something that ends in a shrug. What was that? Seems like it was about me. I feel like slumping over in my seat. Both of them are smiling, but that shrug hit me unexpectedly deeply. You look down. Are you okay? Don't take it wrong, please. I hate it when people are afraid to ask questions. That's how people learn things, by asking. Asking for help is perfectly normal, as much as needing help. Stop looking like you just failed a test. Alright. Another thing, you don't have to call Shichan something so formal like Hakamichi or class rep all the time. Just call her Shichan. Okay, that's too casual, maybe. Shizune would be more appropriate. Yep, Shizune's fine. Okay, that would be a lot easier for me. I feel more at ease. Both of them seem so friendly, so I feel like an idiot for being so apprehensive earlier. Especially about Shizune, who I assumed would be all business. Well, she still seems like that. Just less so, I guess. Huh? Oh, right, we haven't touched the assignments. We should start working now or Shichan will get mad. The assignment is also kind of long, so we should start now if we want to finish before the class ends. That too! Shizune glares at the two of us impatiently. I don't need to know sign language to understand that. Okay, I get the message. After class we can take a walk around the grounds, together. It's a nice day today, okay? The assignment is actually very challenging to get through, combining aspects of both difficult and unnecessarily long. Still, we finish in a few minutes earlier than anyone else in the class. Despite our late start, Shizune and Misha are really capable. They're quite different though. The class rep is calm and professional as she looks, while Misha is a lot more playful and girlish, not to mention a little more easily distracted. Yes, pure ADHD. Nice. To be honest, the two of them did most of the work. I feel guilty about that. The clock tower bell rings, signaling the end of the period. Time for lunch. Ah, the beautiful painting. Ah, how I missed it. Without knowing what else to do, I follow Misha, who is beckoning me into the hallway and down the stairs. We descend even below the lobby where I met Muto, down to the bottom floor. Just like everything in the school, the cafeteria seems too spacious and oddly modern in contrast to the classic exterior. This is really background noise talking.mp3. Its big windows open to the courtyard, towards the main gate. It's the cafeteria! Her enthusiastic statement of the obvious makes people around us stare, but Misha doesn't seem to care, so we proceed to the line. There's a rather long list of menu options, which seems great until you realize that many of them are accommodated to the students who have special diets. How nice. It almost feels like I'm back at the hospital, eating portions measured with scientific precision to meet the needs of the patients. I pick something at random and follow Shizune to the table, sitting opposite of her. As I nibble indifferently at the food I'd rather not eat, Misha pokes at me in the side to get my attention and points to Shizune. I don't understand sign language, so the point escapes me. Maybe looking at the person who talks to you is proper and polite? Do you want to know something? What? About anything. We're your guides, so you should ask if there's something. I wonder. Library. Books. Give me books. I must consume the knowledge. Oh yeah, is there a library at the school? Lately I've gotten into reading, so I'd like to check it out. Misha gives me a kind of frown that makes it clear she doesn't consider reading a healthy hobby, but then picks up her smile again. There is! It's on the second floor. We can show you to it sometime. Thanks. I return to my food while the girls talk between themselves. Misha and Shizune sign back and forth very animatedly, throwing sideways glances at me, but Misha refrains from translating. Maybe they're talking about secret girl stuff or something. I quickly notice a conversation in sign is not enough to fill a silence. We arrive to the classroom early, but we're not the first. A dark-haired girl that I noticed before is slumped at her desk at the last row. She jumps a little when Misha crashes into the room with her elegance of a rhino. She shrinks deeper into her seat. I can feel her tension all the way from here, as if she were slowly turning into stone from her presence. Misha and Shizune either don't notice or don't mind it, as they walk directly past her to the seats to begin to converse. I'm left wondering about her, even when the classroom slowly fills with other students and finally the teacher. Getting into the rhythm of school feels strange. It's as if my brain remembers how it's done, but my body doesn't. Towards the end of the class, I start yawning and counting the minutes left. I shouldn't be this tired on my first day of school. Maybe it's the long time I spent in the hospital that made me like this. I'm even feeling physically weak and lifeless. Before long, the final bell rings. School's finally over for the day. Besides me, Misha and Shizune are having a short conversation. After a bit of deliberation, Misha turns to me. Unfortunately, we can't stay and show you around today. Hichan, we've got to hurry already, since there's a lot of work for us to do. You'll find your way around here, I'm sure of it. Wait, the teacher said I'd have to see the nurse. Where do I have to go? Is that so? We can at least show you that much. Come on, the nurses have their own building, so we have to go outside. We join the flow of students making their way down the stairwell and outside, with the girls pointing out senior classrooms in the same hallway as ours. When we get outside, the girls make their way to the smaller building right next to the school. It's built in the same style, but it looks like it's actually a part of the main building. This is the auxiliary building. Here. There's a lot of official and important stuff inside, like Yamaku Foundation office and the nurses' offices. They even have a swimming pool. How is that official? Huh? Don't be silly, Hichan. It's for physical therapy, of course. Anyway, all the nursing staff facilities are in there too. The head nurse's office is on the first floor. You'll be fine from here, right? We'll be going then. See you tomorrow. Yeah, thanks. Bye. A whole building for stuff that has nothing to do with actual education. I guess it's necessary for a place like this. I walk in hoping that this really will be only a quick visit like the teacher said. On the white door on the left is a green cross with the text Head Nurse and a nameplate. A voice from the other side responds to my knock almost immediately, but I can't quite make it out. It sounded like an invitation to open the door, so I invite myself in further. The room is not large and it smells strange. A friendly-looking man turns around on his office chair to face me as I enter. His desk is neat and tidy, but the bin under the table is overflowing with used medical utensils, and there's at least a dozen coffee cup rings lingering on the desk. Well, hello there. What can I do for you today? He's young-looking, sort of rugged, but the dimples in his cheeks wash that impression away as he smiles. Are you the nurse? He smiles like the person who has heard this very same question hundreds of times. Why, yes, I am. It says on the door so, no? You could call me by my name, or just the nurse, like everyone else. Of course, I shake off my confusion, realizing I probably should grab his extended hand. Of course, I shake off my confusion after realizing I probably. Oh, I just didn't click. Right. I'm a new student, and my homeroom teacher told me to come and meet you. My name is Hisao Nakai. His eyes lighten up with revelation as he snaps his fingers. Oh, you're that Nakai! I was just reading your file in the morning. Some kind of chronic arrhythmia and related congenital heart muscle deficiency, right? He gestures to me to sit down in a vacant armchair in front of his desk. Yes. Good. Well, you've probably been briefed about the school enough, so I'll just go over this quickly. We have all kinds of facilities available, mostly physical therapy and such. There's always someone from my staff around, even at night, so never hesitate to call us if there's a problem. The famous 24-hour nursing staff. Oh, it's like a hospital. Well, not exactly. For instance, we don't do brain surgery here. The joke feels so out of place that I left thinking why he even said it. Yeah. Just that it's really weird to have so many medical people at a school. You'll get used to it. I'm not so sure of that, but I don't let the nurse know it. Now let me just find your file again. While he searches for something from his computer and shuffles stacks of papers around, I let my gaze wander around the room. It's the epitome of generic, I'd like to say. Beige walls and ceiling, dark grey laminate flooring, and all of the equipment you'd expect from a school nurse's office. Even the ridiculous educational posters are hanging on all four walls, reminding me to eat properly 3 times a day and from all food groups. Smiling, the nurse draws a thick file from the stack of similarly thick files and opens it. So you already have the medication for the arrhythmia. Just remember to take your pills every morning and evening, or it won't be much help. Apart from that, do you do any sports? Rash stuff? I don't know, boxing? He grins at his own joke, but I don't. Well, I played soccer occasionally with some classmates. Alright, I'm afraid I'm going to have to recommend you refrain from doing that. At least for the time being. Oh. My lack of reaction makes him raise an eyebrow, but really, I'm not too bothered by him forbidding me to kick a ball around. I guess I never did it out of burning passion for the sport, just to have something to do. Any kind of concussion might be very dangerous to your heart, and risking another attack is not a good idea. Was the previous one caused by a sudden concussion in the chest area? There's no mention of the cause in your papers. Not exactly. I sidestep the question acceptably and he glances at me over his papers with a more serious expression on his face. Still, you do need to keep your body healthy, so some exercise would do you good. We have physical therapy and such available as said, but I don't think you really need heavy measures. Just some light exercise regularly. Brisk walks, or even light jogging, jumping rope, that sort of thing. Swimming, maybe? There's a pool here. So I was told. You were? Very good. At any rate, I'm sure you've been told this before. You need to take care to not overexert yourself. He wags his finger to emphasize the point. No need, really. I've heard this 1,000 times already. 6. Six. It's good exercise, yes. Thank you. Absolutely no unnecessary risk. Take care of yourself. Okay. He goes over my papers one more time and sets them on the desk. Obviously content. Good. That's it then. Come meet me if you ever need something. I'm ushered out before I even realize it. A quick visit indeed. I end up standing in front of the main building and the auxiliary building, although to my eyes they still look like one and the same. It's the first real look I get at the other students, so I watch people coming out of the school, going towards the gate or the dorms. Everyone seems to know where they are going. And still, I still keep thinking that most of them don't look too special for being students at a special school. Then again, neither do I. Does that make me one of them? Or one of us? I should go somewhere too, to prevent me from getting lost. It's around dinner time, but I feel tired instead of hungry. The weariness in me only grows as I trudge towards the dorms, set a little way apart from the main building complex. There's a garden of sorts between the school and the dorms. Shrubbery, flowers, and that overbearing smell of fresh cut grass that fills the atmosphere. It dawns on my tired mind that the smell feels novel because I haven't been outside for that long. The dorm building is big and made of red brick. Like the others, it feels too pompous for what it is, so I push forward, going inside. It takes more time than necessary to fish out the key I was given from my pocket. Room 199. Despite the ornate exterior, the inside of the dorm is fairly new, functional and boring. Just like in the main building, the halls and doors are wide to accommodate wheelchairs. The same goes for the elevators at the end of the hallways. I poke my head around the corner of the common room door. Inside, a few students are watching the television. One nods and gives me a quick hello before turning back to the TV. Seems that the only girls here are unsociable. I suppose that's perfectly fine with me. I climb up the stairs to the upper floor. There's a small corridor. Small corridors branch off from the main hallway. Each of these minor halls seem to have a toilet and a shower, as well as 4 rooms. About halfway down the hall, I spy room 119. I can't count. The nameplates on the rooms adjacent to mine are blank. I guess there are just 2 of us there. Light shines from below the dorm of 117, so I knock lightly. Hello, is anybody home? From the inside I hear a few movements, then the ticking of way more locks than I thought these doors had. After a moment, the door squeaks open. A bespectacled boy is standing in the doorway. He is looking at me very intently through his extremely thick eyeglasses. Oh, shit. I fucked it up. That's better, sorry. Respectable, oh yeah.
Huh? Who is it?
Blind? No, at least not completely. Why would he have eyeglasses if he was? He leans closer to me until our noses are almost touching. His breath stinks of garlic. Isao Nakai. I'm moving into the next dorm. I thought I should introduce myself. His face suddenly brightens in realization and he stands back upright, thrusting his hand out in smiling greeting, almost straight into my diaphragm.
Oh, sup dude? My name is Kenji.
Ah, hi. I take Kenji's sweaty hand and shake it. Still a little rattled by the sudden change of attitude and vehement welcome. There are some suspicious looking
people going in and out of your room earlier.
Those were probably my parents.
Your parents? You sure? 'Cause there could have been some other people too. You can't judge a book by its cover.
His out-of-place proverb is left hanging between us, awkwardly as I try to think of some way to respond. I'd say the chances are high enough. He shudders and makes a more exaggerated hand gesture.
You're a brave man, Isao.
Me, I don't think I could trust the chances.
The only one I trust is myself.
Does that mean I shouldn't get to know you either? He thinks about it for a while.
A wise decision.
Damn, you are smarter than you look.
Probably.
What do you look like? I hope not smart. He squints his eyes and leans closer again, but I lean backwards to dodge it.
Never mind. It doesn't matter.
With that, he turns, fumbles around for a moment in search of the door handle, and shuts the door behind him. I slide the key into the lock of the door marked 119. Bleak beige walls, white linen, a desk made from some type of light wood, ugly curtains. It's no one's room, impersonal, like a hospital room was. My bags are sitting at the foot of my bed, looking a lot emptier than they did this morning. The closet is sitting open, stocked with my clothes. Also, it seems that there are a number of school uniforms hanging there as well. A note is pinned into my sleeve on one of the shirts. Hi, Hichan. We've unpacked your things and made your bed. They said that if these don't fit, then you should go to the office tomorrow. If you have any problems, you can always call us. Love, Mom and Dad. Well, at least I don't have to worry about unpacking. I kind of hoped that I would have. Then there would be something to do. It's still too early. I put the note down on the desktop and lie down on the bed, feeling drained. Lying there makes me want to read something, but I have nothing with me. I wonder if the hospital conditioned me for wanting to read whenever I have nothing to do. The restless urge just keeps growing until I have to stand up. Maybe it's stress or something. I was pretty nervous about it before coming, and for the entire day too. I still am, I think. Damn, I have to distract myself somehow. I won't be this unnatural all the time. Tomorrow I'll go borrow some books from the library. Yeah, I'll do that. But for now... The bottles of medications neatly arranged on my night table catch my eye. I pick one up and shake it to hear its contents rattle inside, and then read the glued-on pharmacy label. Two tablets daily to stay alive. It doesn't really say that, but it could just as well. It's kinda twisted, having your life depend on chemicals like this. I resent it a little, but what choice do I have? With a sigh, I begin my new daily ritual of taking the right number of pills from each bottle, being careful to check the correct dosages. I lie down again, feeling hollow and uncertain after that. I keep staring at the blank, unfamiliar ceiling for a long time. It doesn't start looking more familiar, not even after darkness falls and long shadows draw across my room like fingers. The sheets feel slightly more comfortable, warm and nest-like against the chill that passes for room temperature here. Soon the lighter shade of darkness that is the ceiling looks like every ceiling does at night, and it becomes the only thing I recognize anymore. The night beckons me to sleep, and I feel the coldness of unfamiliarity and fear creeping up my spine once again. I keep drifting further and further from the world I knew. Oh. Uh, I wake up in a strange room. The solid morning light shimmers against the light grey ceiling. I had forgotten to draw the curtains close last night. Aye? This is my room, isn't it? My room. This is the third room this year. What am I supposed to call mine? That I'm supposed to call mine? Various things around here remind me that indeed it is me who is supposed to be the one living here. My bags on the floor, my new school books on the desk, my numerous medications on the night table. I stare at the bottles for a moment, deliberating until I open a bottle, shake out a pill and pop out a tablet from the foil sheet. I down them with a chaser of water, without thinking about the chemistry. My uniforms are in the closet. I slink out from under the sheets and stretch my back before dressing up. Putting on a new school uniforms feels like dressing in someone else's clothes. The artificial smell of generic detergent invades my nose, but the feeling of fresh clothes against my back is a good one, a natural one. Feels like a school uniform, as it should. It's not much different from what I'm used to wear before. That goes for other things too. So far, this place seems more or less like a normal school, except for the people. I think back to my talk with Kenji yesterday. Misha's constant laughter, and she's in a sweeping sign language gestures. Well, I've only met 3 students so far. Maybe they aren't that normal, but I'm sure others are. Or perhaps people like them are what passes for normal around here? Yeah, what does pass for normal around here? What do people do? I didn't see a lot of kids hanging around after classes yesterday. So maybe there are clubs? If so, I wonder if I should join one. Join the student council and you'll become the most powerful being in this school. All through class, the question remains on my mind, so I decide to ask Shizune about it when we split into groups. After all, she did say if I had anything I wanted to know, I should ask her. Huh? Huh. She crosses her arms and shifts her gaze toward slowly to Misha, who is looking more preoccupied with trying to grind the eraser of her pencil down so that the top is perfectly evenly flat. Ah. Sorry, Shichan. Is there something you wanted from me? Oh, I see. That's a good question, Hichan. My first thought is that she means she doesn't know. She doesn't know, which is worrying. Maybe I'm being too negative. Well, anyway, Misha, please don't prove me right. Huh. Oh, that's right. Everyone is encouraged to join a club. A lot of people do so because there isn't really anything else to do. There are also school events, like the festival coming up in a few days. Almost every student in the school tends to help out with that, doing whatever. So, you actually transferred in a busy time. Maybe you can help out too? Sure. What's the festival about? Misha freezes. I don't know. Hichan, the truth is... it's a local event and I'm not from this area, so... She starts signing desperately to Shizune, asking her to bail her out. Shizune adjusts her glasses at the end of her oddly grandiose flourish and starts signing hard and heavy. Music's still a little loud. Okay, so there's literally just two modes. Sorry, three modes. There's no music, there's loud as fuck, and then there's middle ground. Oh well. Huh? Huh? Oh! Who cares? Misha puffs her chest as she shouts Shizune's word out at me. With a disproportionate amount of pride. Too loud. I can see heads turning in and looking in our direction. Not so loud. Huh. Human beings evolve with each generation. The ideals and beliefs behind festivals will inevitably change with the time. Now it's about delicious food and amusing little games that you have to play to win prizes. The teacher clears his throat very loudly, batting his long wooden pointer against his other palm like a baton. He shoots a pointed gaze at us. Finally noticing where we are, Misha stifles a yelp and quickly quiets down. Shizune doesn't seem embarrassed at all, though brushing it off without care. We are in the middle of class, so should start working. That's right, Shichan. What? That's right? Hichan, are you asking because you're interested in joining a club? It could have been my eyes playing tricks on me, but I think I saw a suspicious glance exchanged between them. Misha's tone has also changed, although it does that every other word anyway. Yeah, I was thinking about it. Misha and Shizune look at each other again. I'm about to ask what they have in mind when something dark flutters in my peripheral vision, catching my attention. Out of the corner of my eye, I see the girl with long dark hair get up from her desk and slip silently towards the door. It doesn't help. It doesn't seem like she was working in any group, and no one seems to notice her but me. I glanced at the teacher, who is also looking at the dark-haired girl go. Why doesn't he say anything? Hichan, is something wrong? Do I look as uneasy as I feel? Or was Misha just looking at me, looking after the other girl who left? No, nothing. Mm. Okay, well, like we were asking, you don't have any plans for lunch today, do you? I thought I would go to the library and pick up some books. Not really. Do you want to have lunch together then? Sure. Hmm. Yay! Okay, perfect. Perfect. Hichan. The rest of class passes uneventfully. The girl with long hair never came back. Before I have time to put any more thought into where she could have gone, the teacher informs us that it's time to stop working. Shizune looks more than a little annoyed that we only just barely managed to finish all our work on time. I'm just glad we finished it at all. It's not a contest or anything. Huh. Yes, it is, Hichan. Impossible. Really? Really? I've noticed this before, but it's kind of funny how Misha is always moving her hands and signing not only everything she says, but also what anyone else is saying at any given time. Obviously, it must be so Shizune can understand it. Her eyes dart back and forth between Misha's hands and me. I don't know who I'm supposed to be looking at. I'm talking to Misha, but that might be wrong. Maybe I should face Shizune? I'm used to looking in the direction of the person whose voice I'm hearing, but really, Shizune can't hear me. But it would be disrespectful to talk to her only through Misha. Then again, isn't that what she's doing? No, she's at least looking at me. This is all very confusing and will take some time to get used to. It's not a contest, because contests are competitions over a prize. If there's no prize on the line, it's not really a contest. Shizune's eyes flash dangerously. With a competitive glare, she stares at me as if with surprise that I'm challenging her. I think maybe this is a contest to her. I've never noticed before how dark and blue her eyes are. It's truly an alluring gaze. Huh. Are you sure, Hichan? Very sure. You're wrong, Hichan, because I don't want to be the slowest in the class. Therefore, what's on the line is my confidence in my abilities, and the prize is the satisfaction of proving them. Shizune pushes her glasses up the bridge of her nose, and in the very matter-of-fact way. I'd argue more, but the bell rings, and she quickly gets up and picks up her bag, looking at me expectantly. I almost forgot that I was supposed to have lunch with them. Where do you want to eat? At the cafeteria? That's so plain. Okay, let's go. Plain? Well, I guess. At my old school, I liked to eat outside, near the back of the building. It was a good spot, but I didn't find it until the near end of my freshman year. I wonder if there's a similar place to eat here. Misha seems to imply as much. Shizune and Misha pull me towards the cafeteria, which is surprisingly not packed. Maybe some of the students favor eating in the classroom or outdoors. I saw some of my classmates had boxed lunches. After we finish eating, Misha picks up where we left off earlier. So, Hichan, you wanted to know about the clubs and stuff, right? Right? Right, Hichan. Okay, I guess it makes sense to ask first. Exchanging little nods of confirmation, they turn and face me again, and Misha straightens her posture as if she's about to deliver a speech. Hichan, do you have anything you're really interested in? I used to play soccer, but I'm not really into it. I don't follow the teams and players or anything like that. As of late, I just usually read a lot. There's a book club, right, Hichan? But it seems like they have all the members they can possibly have right now. Sorry, Hichan, it's a really popular club. Okay, but more to the point. Hichan, does this mean you don't have anything already in mind? Not really. Good, great. That's great, Hichan. Really great. Why is it so great? No reason. Well, Hichan, the other clubs and upcoming festival, there's one other thing. Student council. I see. I didn't know this school had a student council. It was very melodramatic setup, though just to tell me that. I'm pretty sure the two of them already know this because Shizune looks a little embarrassed about it. Oh, my mouth. And Misha's laughing. Shizune quickly retakes control over the situation in a manner of speaking. After all, it's still Misha who has the voice, whatever she says. Right, Hichan. Maybe you should join the student council. They could use more people. Yes, definitely. You should join. Why? Well, for one, we could hang out every day. Shichan and I are both in the student council. Actually, Shichan is the president. I'm starting to get a suspicion that Shizune and Misha are not exactly... might not exactly be the most unbiased people to talk about this. As if reading my mind, Shizune quickly adjusts her glasses and signs something to Misha. Of course we're not trying to get you to join just because it would obviously benefit... we would obviously benefit from you joining the student council and therefore have an incentive to try and get you to... So you're admitting that... No. No, we admit nothing. I mean, Ichan, of course it would be nice to have you if you joined. We'd appreciate it. But even without all that, joining the student council shows a healthy interest in the workings of one's school. Yep, it's true. Hichan, besides, don't you want to spend time with us after school, Hichan? I can't tell if she's being genuine or if this is just really good at acting. Both of them seem to be trying hard to look their cutest, although they're already pretty cute to begin with. Well... So it's settled then. Welcome to the student council, Hichan. No. Aw, see, Hichan? Of course it wouldn't go so easily. Huh. Yep, that's right. Though it would be boring if it went that smoothly. Well, Hichan owes me candy now. You were betting on it? Hey, my life is not some game here. Shizune seems very intrigued by this when Misha signs it to her. The aggressive glint returns to her eyes. Huh? What a bit... That's interesting. Hichan, let's play a game. That's not what I said. How about a rich man, poor man, Hichan? If you lose, you have to join the student council. No, absolutely not. Oh, why not? Because you two both have the same incentive and therefore the game's goal and therefore the same goal, which is to get me to join the student council, right? Huh? Yep. Yeah, that isn't my goal, but what this means is that both of you can team up and I'll be at a clear disadvantage. So I will have to decline. Huh? Hichan, I'm very offended. Are you saying that you don't trust us? That we would pull something so disingenuous? It makes me sad. Sorry. It's hard to tell whether Shizune's influence ends and where Shizune's influence ends and Misha's thoughts begin. In order to atone for hurting a young girl's feelings, you should definitely join the student council. No. How about a game of paper football instead of rich men, poor men? Paper football? Yeah, it's a game where... the game they play in America. You make a triangle, and then you try and shoot it past the goalpost. That is the other player makes with their fingers. Isn't it cool? It's the ultimate form of competition between two people, Hichan. Huh. And it's also played by elementary and middle school children. Shichan? That means it's a game that really separates the boys from the men. More like the boys from the slightly older boys. Anyway, I'm not going to play that either. Just the fact that you know about it means that you're probably surprisingly good at it. Yeah, it's true. How did you know that, Hichan? Shizune frowns at Misha, telling me that she probably wasn't supposed to admit so readily. I wouldn't say that I'm happy with their attempts to get me to join the student council, but I'm a little curious about what the student council does here. I've never been more on one before, or even known anybody who was a member, so it interests me. I also kind of like Shizune and Misha, so maybe it wouldn't be so bad. Okay, Chan, how about the risk? The game of world domination. I don't know what it is. Come on, Isao, even I know what it is. It's really fun, Hichan. You fight for control of the world with armies and everything. Sounds like Shizune would be good at it. If you want to play, we can after school. Really, Shichan? We can play just for fun. Shichan hasn't played in a long time, so if you want to, there's no strings attached. Well, okay. Okay, perfect. We'll see you after school. In the student council room then, Hichan? Wait, why there? Because that's where we keep the games. I grimace to tell them how much I do not like this. That's more for show than anything. So in the end, I agree, but only after getting Shizune to acknowledge that I don't mean anything concrete, just by accepting to take a look around and play a game with her. Lunch ends and we go back to class. During afternoon classes, the long-haired girl comes back and sits down in her seat without a word. Again, no one seems to notice, or if they do, no one says anything. I want to ask Misha about it, but I don't want to be nosy. After school, Shizune and Misha quickly find me by the first floor lobby and lash onto me, covering each flank in case I might try to escape. I feel a little offended, but I'd been considering it. Nevertheless, I'm a bit disturbed that enough people have made a break for it in the past, that they're on their guard. What's with the escort? It doesn't make me feel very comfortable. In fact, it makes me feel like a dangerous prisoner being transported into a cell. What's wrong, Ichan?
That's right. We're just going to play a game of Risk, remember?
I don't know, Misha, this all seems very sinister to me. I start thinking that when we sit down and play the game, they'll tie me down and torture me until I agree to join the student council. I wouldn't mind that, per se, but yes, it could happen. Well, that's highly unlikely, but still. For some reason, it seems like it would be plausible. Getting to the student council room is as simple as turning 2 corners from where we started. What? That's it? This makes you guys being so on top of me seem a little silly.
Huh. That's not true, Hichan. Hichan says that when their life is threatened, people have shown the capability to pull off superhuman bursts of speed.
Life is threatened. Her expression unchanging, Misha signs something amusedly to Shizune, who makes a baffling face and puts her hand behind her back, looking pleased with herself. Misha feigns deafness and hums cheerily. Stop that. I know you've heard me. You have no excuse, unlike Shizune. Shizune opens the door to the student council room. It's very plain, sparsely decorated, although it is quite large. Maybe even a little larger than a classroom. There's a big table in the center, surrounded by chairs that are similarly and a similar desk prominently placed in the back that I assume is Shizune's. There are a few regular desks and chairs stacked to one side as well. Extras, perhaps? Aside from the tables and chairs, the room doesn't have much else to offer. Just a couple of filing cabinets and bookshelves, stacked with old school records and documents. Not much else, in fact, nothing else. This is a pretty bleak room. They could at least put a potted plant in here, or something. But the most noticeable thing that in this room doesn't have is other people. Are we early? No. What do you mean, no? Does it mean nobody else is coming today? Yeah, that's right. Before I manage to ask why that is the case, Shizune claps her hands together very energetically. Hichan, let's play Risk. Come on. You promised, didn't you? You have to. Okay. Do you want to know the rules? We can explain it to you while we set everything up. Misha is talking. While Misha's talking, Shizune takes out what looks like a board game from behind one of the filing cabinets and throws it onto the table. Actually, it looks kind of interesting. After Misha spends a little too long for her liking running through the basics with a somewhat vague and confusing tutorial, Shizune cuts in and declares the game has started with a decisive motion, slicing her arms through the air. Shizune's aggressiveness is rubbing off on me. I start feeling more competitive than I intended to be when I agreed to this. Halfway into the game, while I try to ponder how to defend against Shizune's assault from 2 fronts, she breaks my concentration by drumming her fingers onto the table to get my attention. Huh. Shichan wants to know why you're taking too long to make a move. Shichan also says that she will let you keep Australia if you agree to join the student council. I thought this game had no strings attached. Just the fact that she would dangle that over my head has an
as Noffer means that she knows I care about the outcome of this game. And anyway, no. Huh! Shichan admires your fighting spirit, and would be benevolent dictator who will spare your people if you agree to join the student council. You're so competitive, Shizune. She seems to take it as a compliment. I would expect the student council president to be a little more magnanimous. Magnanimous? She doesn't seem to know what the word means, or how it's signed, so she pulls out a piece of paper and writes it for Shizune, who in return signs it back to Misha. Misha presses her index finger against her temple as if trying to physically imprint the word into her memory. Suddenly, Shizune bursts into a flurry of gestures. Misha looks daunted by the pace of her heated signing. Ah, wait, please slow down, Shichan. Shichan says you're going to lose. Tell her I will crush her world empire with my rebellion. Ah, okay. Those eyes of hers with childlike mischief shine with childlike mischief. She says you have no chance if you keep playing like this. No, you won't. Let's see. Save. Stupid mosquitoes. Just point. Attack aggressively. She's either mocking me or trying to trick me. I have nothing else to lose, though, so I might as well try something different. Maybe if I spread out my forces and try to control more territories, I can recoup the advantage. Shizune seems to focus on conquering whole nations, so maybe I can sacrifice my hold on continents to gain more small countries. It's worth a shot. A few turns later, I end up losing the game anyway. Shizune adjusts her glasses victoriously and allows herself to tentatively pump a fist into the air in celebration. Ha! I win! Yay! There's no need to translate that, it was pretty clear. Don't look so sad, Hichan. You were giving it your best. That's what I thought. Sometimes your best is just isn't good enough, though. If anyone knows that, it's me. You did very well for someone who just learned how to play today. Hichan, you attacked Iceland and North America at the same time. That's a very daring move. Hichan is impressed. The mark of great people is that they are daring. And they can follow through. You're already halfway there. Isn't that great, Hichan? That isn't enough, though. Just potential isn't enough. There's no point in potential if you don't take the first step. And there's no point to that if you don't keep going. I want to see more. You're right, Shichan. You're right, Shichan. But that's so demanding. Huh. Shizune leans forward, suddenly looking a lot less playful and more like the serious person I expected her to be from the start. Huh. Hichan, would you like to join the student council? She really doesn't waste any time, does she? But it's only my second school day, so I'm hesitant about committing to something so early. I haven't even taken a look at the other clubs yet. But spending time with Shizune and Misha doesn't seem like something I would hate. I still need more time to think about it before I decide for sure. Maybe I'll get back to you on it. Huh. Okay, Hichan, but I hope you're not just saying that so we don't feel bad. No, really. Really? Hichan, you're going to have to say that you're saying that it's... If you're going to say that, you're saying that it's definitely the truth, and there can't be any mistaking it. Oh. I know, I know. I should have my revenge for losing, at the very least. Shizune smiles at me in a mischievous way that feels like twisting a knife in the wound of my loss. I take a glance at the clock on the wall and realize I've spent far longer playing Risk than I expected. Sorry, I think I have to go. I wanted to go to the library. It's not closed yet, is it? Shizune scratches her head and gestures at Misha. How hard can it be to determine whether the library is open? There's a clock right on the wall. It should be, unless the librarian is absent. I think you're right, Shichan. We think the library is open. It's on the second floor. Can't miss it. Do you want us to show you where it is? No thanks. It's okay. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye! One flight of stairs up and I run into problems. The second floor hallway is a carbon copy of the third one, with a beautiful painting in the background. White, of course, and plain, like only hallways can be. The problem is that the library's whereabouts are not as easily determined as one would think. The classrooms are marked with signs stating which class they belong to, but then there's a plethora of other unmarked rooms. Is the library one of them, or just somewhere down the hallway? I bet on the ladder and choose my direction at random. After I turn around the corner, an unmarked door draws my attention because it's not closed. It's not open either, though. Just barely ajar so that I can see it's open and nothing else. It would make sense for a library to be invitingly open, and while this one is not quite that, it's good enough. At the very least, it means that someone is inside and I can ask them for direction, no matter how embarrassing that is. I gingerly push on the center of the door with my fingertips, every muscle in my arm ready to pull back at a moment's notice. The feeling of being an outsider to this school can't be shaken from my mind. So much that I instinctively fear doing something wrong by entering. What a loud-ass door. The door slowly creaks as if groaning from a deep sleep, though this is much easier to open than I anticipated. Leaning over and poking my head even further inside to gain the sight of the room as fast as possible, a meek hello on my lips is quickly snatched away. This is not what I expected. I mindlessly opened the door to its full extent, taking in the sight of the solitary figure, taking center stage in an otherwise abandoned room. The situation steals my voice, leaving me standing at the doorway, staring at the beautiful girl. Evidently, having taken her time to assess the situation, the girl gently puts down her teacup and opens her eyes. But it doesn't look at me. She doesn't look at me. Why, hello there. May I help you? Staring directly in front of herself, the movements of her lips seem to break the silence, speaking silence rather than the words. However, it's the soft, measured voice that reminds me she's a being separate from the room itself. Not only is she likely the tallest girl I've ever laid eyes on, but even among the foreigners I've met, she's strikingly distinct. Hi. Sorry for intruding. I was just kind of lost. She takes a moment to formulate a response before speaking. Every action she takes feels like it's carefully choreographed beforehand. Care to take a seat? Unexpected, considering that I'm intruding upon her. Thanks. I slowly step toward another seat opposite her. The girl resting the teacup and saucer on the wooden table in between. The way she doesn't track my movements with her head is telling, and the slight cloudiness in her eyes means she must be at least partially blind, like Kenji. Come to think of it, her voice doesn't have any detectable accent either. I guess she must be half Japanese. As I take my seat, her composure takes me slightly off guard. Her air of relaxed confidence makes the silence entirely comfortable. The calming atmosphere is so very different from the student council office. I take it you're a new student to Yamaku? Yes, I transferred in just yesterday. I get a distinct feeling in my speech. My speech patterns don't match the formality of hers, accentuated by her restrained bow of greeting. One which I hasten to match before realizing the futility of the action. I'm Lily Sato. I'm pleased to meet you. Hisao Nakai. She gives a nod before gesturing roughly in the direction of her teacup. Would you care for a drink? Sure. As much as it pains me, I can't keep step with her formality in the proceedings. She gives a kind nod, taking the request in stride. Without another word, she steps off the table and prepares a second teacup of tea from the collection of supplies laid out along the shelf. A brush here, a brush here, a brush there. Her left hand awfully lightly touching the side of whichever container she's pouring into. It seems to be a process she's followed dozens of times before. As I lean sideways to see around her back, she seems to use her long, dainty fingers to measure the right amount of water in the cup. It's one thing to see the different disabilities the students in my class have, but it's quite another to see how everyone seems to adapt. Shizune and Misha have no problem working together to communicate to me, and Lily herself seems to have workarounds for her problems I never thought of. While I feel slightly guilty about her doing the work, she seems pleased to be following the correct process of the offerer preparing the drink. So, her soft voice brings me out of my silent observance. Which room were you looking for? It's not quite often this classroom is visited after school. At the school library. I mean, some of my classmates told me it was on this floor. She finishes pouring water into the teacup as she nods. A small metallic tapping comes from the teacup, indicating it's being stirred. I'm aware of Miss Hakamichi, as are most students. To be with them means you're also in class 3-3, no? That's right, in the science room with Muto. She gives a small giggle before setting down the teaspoon and slowly walking towards the table, teacup and saucer in hand. He's quite the character. I imagine you'll come to like him. Most do. As she sets down the tea, I gently take it and have a sip. I'm really more of a coffee person, but this seems like a rather bad moment to bring it up. Nonetheless, the smell's quite nice. I hardly think it'd be hard to choke down. Thanks, Sato. It tastes really nice. She smiles and quickly waves her hand in front of her face. Lily, please, there's no need to be too formal. She says this in spite of her exceedingly well-bred speech. Oh well. I guess I should try to ask her about herself. As it really does seem as if she's catering to me. So which class are you from? I imagine it's one in the third year classes? Correct. I'm in class 3-2, which is the one on the third floor. Same as yours. It's taught by Miyagi, and specifically for both blind and partially blind students. I see. Very well. Nice. I mean, sorry. I feel like slapping myself for the faux pas. Looking at her face, though, she doesn't seem the least bit put off by it. My, there's no need to change your speech on my account. Sure, sorry. I guess I'm really showing my newness here. An environment like this would be a big change, so I can't fault you for it. While the same can't be said for everyone, many have come to terms with their conditions. A category which would include her, it seems. All too ready to jump ship from this particular topic, I segue into another one. Do you come here to drink tea often? It's a really nice place. Thinking on it, this might be her version of the place behind my school that I liked to have lunch at. I come here fairly often during lunch times. My duties are, as class representative, don't leave enough time for an official club, so a friend and I use this room for having tea. Class representative, huh? Compared to Shizune, her mannerisms seem to be almost completely the opposite. While Shizune is blunt and fiercely driven, Lily seems relaxed and calm, almost aloof. Come to think of it, she might be useful for a less biased view on schools clubs. What kind of clubs are there to join? The more popular ones are the track and field club, which uses the field near the school during lunch times, the baseball club, and the book club in the room near the library. There's also numerous of small ones too, though, such as the art and music club. At time when I'm just wanting to get off my feet, rushing into a club away seems slightly unappealing. Wonder if the school shares the same rule as my old one. Is it compulsory to join a club? It isn't, though it is encouraged. Ah, good. That's a relief. I really let down my guard around this girl to let such a thing slip out. The fact seems to slightly amuse her. Not wanting my tea to get cold, I finally start drinking it as Lily does the same. As I look over at the window, over her shoulder, I notice the light coming into the room has a distinctly orange tint. Even here, time doesn't stand still. Time's gone quickly. Sorry? Right, she's blind. Of course she can't see the sun setting. It just looks like the sun is starting to set. It seems to come as a surprise for her. Guess she must have lost track of time. Sorry, Hisao. I didn't mean to keep you from the library for so long. I quickly moved to allay her concern. No, it's okay. The library is still open, isn't it? She pauses and takes a moment to think on it. It's probably something I should have asked Shizune when I had the chance, but Lily seems likely to know in any case. True, it's open until 6:30 during weekdays. A quick glance on my watch confirms that we have well enough time to get there. I might get going in that case. It's been nice talking with you, Lily. She smiles and gives a deep nod, her hands still neatly folded on the table in front of her. It was a pleasure. Oh, come to think of it, shall I show you where the library is? I couldn't possibly ask for more help. I should be able to find it alright. Well, unless my navigational skills fail me, which they seem to have a habit of doing. It's alright, I was going to be talking to the librarian there in any case. I could introduce you. This gets better and better. It's pretty hard to deny your offer. If you're sure, then that'd be great, thanks. She stands up to follow me. She takes a hold of a straight, retractable cane that had slipped in the handle of her bag on the floor. Compared to the cane the boy in my class had, Lily's looks much thinner and longer. This must be for support, whereas Lily's is for navigation. Together we leave the peaceful room and enter an empty hallway on the way to the library. Side by side, my pace carefully slow to match hers, we slowly walk through the hallway. It doesn't take us long to arrive at the door to the warm-looking room, apparently situated in the center of the floor, rather than either wing. Ladies first. She gives an appreciative smile at the gesture, taking the lead as we file in. To the left of the wooden library counter, with the library proper being on the right. It easily dwarfs my old school's library, with the distinct smell of old books giving the place an almost old-world air. There don't seem to be a lot of students here. Considering the time, it isn't a big surprise. Everyone's probably either on the school grounds or the dorms. Yuko, are you there? She says into thin air, since the librarian doesn't seem to be present, and of course Lily can't see this. What's unexpected is that it draws a reaction. Something from under the counter thuds against it, followed by a quiet wail. Ah! The origin, apparently, the librarian, quickly crawls out and bounces up to an extremely rigid attention. Hi! How can I help you? Her voice is strained and in a failing attempt to sound casual, and she's rubbing against the back of her head. Good afternoon. What happened just now? I heard a strange sound. It's nothing. I just hit my head. I see. I dropped an eraser under my desk while I was working, and while I was looking for the pencil. Looking for it, a pencil dropped, and when I was looking for both, then you came and surprised me, and... Are you alright? I'm sorry. I couldn't know. It's okay. Sorry for making you worry. It's nothing. I've had worse happen to me. She's quick to reverse Lily's apology, almost frantically trying to push aside the possibility that she could be in any way inconvenienced by bashing her head on the counter. Yes, worse things have happened to me. The girl fidgets with her fingers as Lily doesn't seem to drop her concerned expression. Then she shuffles some papers around the counter for no reason. A little shorter than Lily, repleted with glasses, freckles, and a very troubled look. She seems to fit a librarian perfectly. Ah, Lily! Did you get my message? Message? Oh, the two important books have arrived. Oh, right. Wait. Oh, the two important books that arrived? Right. They finally came. I can't believe it took so long, but... Amidst her celebrations, partially for managing to change the topic, I'm sure she notices me in the corner of her eye and freezes on the spot, then when she does. Oh no, I'm sorry for not noticing you before. Did you need to check out a book or return one? I'm sorry. The way she can quickly shift between moods is a little unsettling. He's with me, Yuko. This is Hisao, a new student. Hisao, this is Yuko, the school librarian. I'm pleased to meet you. Hisao, right. Hisao. Pleased to meet you too, Hisao. For a second, she visibly attempts to engrave the name into her mind so she won't forget. Yuko often arranges to import foreign books in Braille for me. In Braille. Would you like to tell Hisao a little something about the library? Lily's innocent suggestion is met with an expression of abject terror. Please, Lily, I can't. I don't know what you could be interested in. This is too much of responsibility. How is this any responsibility at all? I don't get. But her objection is so sincere that I don't doubt for a second that she would rather disembowel herself on the spot than tell me where the light novels are. Ah, yes. Light novels. Scary. But... So... There are a lot of books in Braille here? I attempt to save the day by asking the first thing that pops into my head. It seems to work, at least, partially. As Yuko seems to. Not exactly relaxed, but at least looks slightly less tense. Well, I think about the third or fourth of Yamoka's library is either in Braille or audio. Makes sense, given all the blind students that be here. It's only that... If it's only that, how come this library is so big in the first place? Well, we get a lot of new books regularly because the library is adequately endowed. That's probably why. They've spent more on new books than than on my salary, and then I have to organize and shelve all of them. It's so troublesome, and the weight is so much. I wish I could just quit this job. A very awkward silence follows this revelation of too much information. I'll go check the owl then, if you don't mind. It's probably the best for all of us if she doesn't keep talking to me. Very well. Meanwhile, Yuko, I would have those books if it's all right with you. My first impression was right. The library is surprisingly big. Ambling down the narrow aisles, I study the spines of the books in random order, occasionally sliding one out to read the blurb, taking it with me if it looks good. In a few moments I have a respectable stack of books in my arms. I guess I'll never be stuck for choice in here. The normality of the library sinks in. Sure, there are large print and braille books scattered throughout, but it is what it is, a library. It's as if the calm mood from the room I had with Lily I had tea with Lily in Snuck With Us Here. Snuck With Us Here. Unless it was here to begin with. Something about that puts me at ease, just like before. I reach to the end I reach to the end of the aisle and find a collection of desks set up for study or personal reading. Going a little further, though, I discover a nice quiet corner at the back. While the rest of the library has the odd student sitting at the desk, either reading or stealthily sleeping, the back is pretty much deserted. As I glance around, I see someone who I recognize, sitting in one of the several beanbags. It's the dark-haired girl from my class, the one who snuck out of the classroom earlier. She's reading a book, keeping it close to her face, which makes her look like she's really into it. From the way she was acting today, I'd pegged her of more of a delinquent than a bookworm. In fact, her mysterious disappearance from the class raises all sorts of whims in my head. Intrigue floats slowly but surely towards the surface, and before I know it, I'm walking towards the mysterious long-haired girl. I guess there's no harm in introducing myself as I would with anyone else. She's a classmate after all. Walking over to another beanbag, I take a seat and lay my books beside it. The girl starts looking scaredly up at me from underneath her fringe. This is the first time I've seen her this close. Underneath her long hair, dense bangs, I can see that part of her face, or at least a third of it, if not half, is pretty badly scarred. My eyes are immediately drawn to the scars, subconsciously peeking past her hair until they meet her own eyes. For a second I am shocked and divert my eyes to the book in her hands, before I realize that looking away would probably only makes it worse. It takes too many seconds to collect myself and remember that I walked up to her for what I walked up to her for. Save again. You never know when it's an important decision. Oh. I'm sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. It's okay. The girl certainly doesn't look like it's okay, but I let it slide. So, do you mind if I sit here? She seems to be very uncertain whether it's okay or not for me to sit, but finally she nods just a little. Oh, okay. I take the seat next to her, and she hides herself behind the book. Life of Pi. Never heard of it. So, sorry again for startling you. I'm Isao. She looks up from her book, stalling a little before replying. I know. We are in the same class. Her speech is stilted and so quiet that it's barely audible, even if it's still a library. Somehow I think that my delinquent impression of her was wrong. Hanako. I'm Hanako. Huh. I resist the urge to say that's a nice name, just to have something to say, but it really is the only thing that I can think of. I feel like an idiot. Everyone here must be used to being different to each other, and here I am being all bothered and fussed about that kind of thing. Oh, don't let me interrupt your reading. I'll just check these books if you don't mind. She nods and sighs a little sigh of relief. So I try to read the covers and the introductions of the books I picked up, and she buries her face in her own book. Uncomfortable silence consumes us. My eyes still wander to her direction, and I sneak peeks at her flowing hair and scars it's hiding. After a while, I realize that she's doing the same, and only pretending to be immersed in life of Pi. Her gaze is not inquisitive at all, though. It darts around like a scared rabbit. Then our gazes finally meet. The chain reaction is unstoppable. She stands up forcefully from her beanbag and takes a deep breath. I... 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 I've got to do something! I've got to go do something! I gotta go do something! I've got to go do something! Damn. What words. I've got to go do something. Yeah, that's better. Without warning, Hanako takes off and runs towards the counter. Her hair-like takeoff catches me so off guard that I don't manage to go after her until she is a good head start. By the time I reach the counter, she's nowhere to be seen. Lily and Yuko are happily chatting away. Knowing that I won't be able to catch Hanako myself, I approach the girls. Hey, did you notice a girl run past here?
Maybe. What did she look like?
Long, dark hair, kinda shy. She had, some scars on her face. You wouldn't be talking about Hanako, would you? Yeah, that's her. I saw her reading and I tried to talk to her, but I think I scared her off or something. Oh dear, Yuko, would you excuse me? I'd better try and find her. Sure. I'll just hold on to these until you come back. What's going on? I'm sorry, but I'll have to explain it to you some other time. Right. I'll see you later then. Lily hastily grabs her cane and hurries out of the library, leaving me and Yuko alone. I don't think I'll ever get the hang of this place. Did I do something wrong?
What did you do?
Nothing. I looked for some books and then she got this fit and ran off. The most offending thing I could have done was I might have looked at her general direction a few times.
Well, she is a very timid girl. You have to be very careful around her. She can be very jumpy.
I think she's not accustomed to talking with other people. Isn't it a bit strange?
I wonder, it's just how she is, I think.
Yuko doesn't sound all that convincing. Then again, maybe this is just the norm around here. Everyone has their own problems, or else they wouldn't be here. But how should I deal with these people? Forcing myself to act overly cautious only makes me feel phony. Like I was supposed to be ignoring the elephant in the room. Yuko fidgets, looking like she wants to say something to that, but resists it.
I think it's an elephant only if you feel that way.
I guess she doesn't have a good sense of self-restraint. It makes me smile, and she blushes heavily.
What? Did that sound stupid?
No. It sounded like really wise. I guess you're right. It's more about me than about anybody else. Neither of us have anything to add, so Yuko fills the silence by shuffling some papers around. People who have papers on their desk really like doing that.
Did you find any books? I should be closing soon.
I mean, this library should be closing, but I have to do it. I hope it's not too much of an inconvenience for you. Oh yeah, I want some books, but I left them over there because I'll just go get them. I fetched my stack of books from beside the beanbags where Hanako and I were sitting and returned them to the counter.
Wow, you read a lot, don't you?
I surprised myself with that too, honestly, at least when I really think about it. I had a lot of free time earlier this year, so I kind of just started reading books to fill that time. Couldn't do much else. I see. But she doesn't say anything else, and just checks out the books for me. I guess this is what they'll call tact. Holding the library books in one arm, I trawl my pocket for the key to the door. A sudden sound from behind startles me, making me nearly drop the books I am carrying or the key that I almost managed to get into the lock.
Who is it?
I turn around and see who's talking to me. It's Kenji. He seems to be in a friendly mood, although the light glint of his glasses gives him a dark vibes. In the dark gives vibes of a sinister look. It's just me. This makes him pause and lick his lip nervously.
Who is me? I don't know anyone called me. Are you some new guy again?
His voice suddenly strained and quick. Yes, but we've met before, yesterday.
I don't think so. I would remember someone whom I met only yesterday. When was that? What day is it today?
I try to ignore him. Is he joking or what?
Prove that we've met before.
You live across the hall. You're Kenji. Kenji jumps back and his eyes filled with an incomprehensible fear.
How do you know my name? Damn, this can only be one of two things. Either we have met, or you're telling me the truth, and I just can't remember it, or you're a spy.
He pauses.
A psychic spy.
His eyes dart around me, trying to peek into my room, although it's hard to believe he can see anything through those thick glasses. His mood swung from friendly to maniac in less than a minute. I'm not a psychic.
How do I know that? I'm not a mind reader.
Kenji points at a finger at my face damningly.
Unlike you!
Stop that, man. We met yesterday. What's wrong with you? I live in this room.
Lies! If you think you can pass as Hisao because I'm legally blind, you're sorely mistaken. You don't even look like him. I mean, the resemblance is real slim. Maybe at distance, but who do you think you're kidding?
I want to grab him by the shoulders and shake him. Exasperated, I rub my eyes and let out a heavy sigh.
Stay there!
Kenji comes closer. Only one careful step at a time. I stay still, lest he assault me physically, although I doubt he could do much damage, even if he did.
Oh, wait. I see it now. Damn, it really is you.
Sighing again, and then once again, for good measure, I take a step back, just in case.
What's up, man? You don't look too good, I think. Something wrong?
I don't know. I just had something stupid happen to me. A few things, actually. Even if you discount this one. I can't get a proper touch on the people here, and I don't have ID. And I have no idea if it's me or because of them. I don't know why I'm telling this to Kenji. It's not like we've had any contact either.
That's rough, dude. Yeah, I'm sorry about calling you a psychic spy and all, but you can never be too careful. It's a hard reality we live in.
I'm slowly starting to think that Kenji isn't necessarily living in the same reality as the rest of us.
You see, this is how it is. This world, there's no justice, you see? Even when I lose, I win because I don't lose the lesson.
What does it even mean?
It doesn't matter.
He dismisses it flatly with a wave of his hand.
So what happened? Why the long face? Do you have a long face?
It's nothing. I just scared some girl off accidentally. Literally too. She actually ran away from me. It was my fault, really, I think. I'm not really used to all this yet.
A girl? Cute one?
Cute? It's a hard question. She had a nice body. And beautiful hair, but the face? Hey, scars are fucking dope. Of course she was cute. Oh wait, I should have saved. Oh well. Yeah, cute I guess.
I knew it! There are a lot of cute girls here. A strangely disproportionate amount. I believe this is one of the dark secrets of this school. I tried to warn you, man, but did you listen?
I don't remember any such warning. Dark secrets?
Yes, dark secrets. Extremely dark. Like a black hole. Have you noticed that the number of girls on the school is slightly but significantly higher than...
How can it be slightly and significantly?
Higher than the number of boys? It's like 60-40.
He turns his head and to the left and stares off into the distance at nothing.
Why is it like this? I mean, to the untrained eye, it doesn't appear to be that bad, but it's a full 20%! One would think that a school with this with such a huge pool of women would be a man's dream, but no! What I'm about to tell you could blow your mind. Are you ready?
No. I don't think I know where this is going. I don't know where this is going, but I think I won't be missing much if by cutting out now. No, I'm not ready. I only get as far as turning the doorknob before Kenji starts talking again, showing that he really doesn't care if my mind is blown or not.
I believe that this school is a battleground, a site of feminist infiltration. The disparity in the number of men and to women is a clear sign of how far they have come. In case this Cold War turns hot, they'll have the superiority in numbers. Just another skirmish in the eternal war against the forces of the feminist. They're everywhere in Japan. Women outnumber men. It's not 60-40 split, but it's only a matter of time, man. Even in America, women are the majority by a hair. They're building up their numbers. In the past, the buildup of the military has always been the clear sign of imminent war. Japan is just the first step. Our economy is badass, and the country itself is small and isolated, yet a huge part of the Pacific in terms of political value. The perfect target. They are so cunning, as expected of women. Soon, the day will come when...
Kenji's voice trails off ominously.
That's why you can't trust them. They will string you along and then just kill you. Just as they killed me. Will you end up like me, just like me?
Oh, hell no. I can't stop myself from blurting it out.
Hey, what the hell is that supposed to mean?
Oh, you said it, not me. It's the best I could think of.
So, you're not just supposed to say something like that? Damn, so rude. Where was I? Oh yeah, vast feminist conspiracy.
Stop it. I lost your way back when they're... way back there somewhere. Somewhere around feminist infiltration.
Too hard to follow? It's cool. I have some graphs and stuff in my room. And puppets. Do you like puppets?
No puppets.
You don't like puppets? Okay. Graphs are still cool though, right?
He speaks energetically, responding almost before I'm done talking. Moving his hands as in an animated way as he continues to rant on. It's too strange. I had him pegged as a relatively normal, but it's clear that I was wrong.
Something on your mind, dude?
Just thinking about what it's like to be the last sane man in this insane world. Kenji frowns, looking deeply upset.
You mean that's you? That can't be, because I'm the last sane man in this insane world. That is my dream. You can't just steal a man's dream. What the hell? There can't be two last sane people in the last sane men. It will invalidate the whole last part. And that part is kind of important. There can only be one. Like
in a one foreign movie where there could only be one, and in the end there is only one left, because that was the point. You mean every American movie ever? Burp. Sorry, every American horror movie. I've never seen anyone talk so heatedly and so defensively about absolutely nothing before. Oh, you haven't seen politics yet. Anyway, if you wait here, I can get my graphs. I also have a list of other dark and complex conspiracies that are also that the school holds, and as tangled as. Quick, finish my analogy before me. Be a pal. I'm going to bed now. It's extremely late. That doesn't sound like an analogy, but whatever. I like you. You seem like a cool dude. Most people don't understand what I'm talking about when I try to explain the vast feminist conspiracy to them. Denial is a terrible thing. Later! He claps me on the back and then vanishes into his room. So quickly and quietly, it's like he didn't even open the door, but instead walked right through it like a ghost. I don't know if I can fully digest what just happened, so I give up and go to my room, kicking off my shoes before falling face first into the bed. It takes me some time to relax, and I get up so I can get started on my homework. Because the sheets are cool and comforting against my cheeks, and it feels good just lying there with my eyes closed. The school is some kind of bizarre, surreal island. It's isolated on top of a mountain, and each person is stranger than the last. I just can't seem to fit in. What irony. One would think that fitting in a place like that's made for people who are unfit for anywhere else would be easy. Maybe I'm trying too hard. Although I say that, it doesn't help take the edge off, and the words are left echoing off my empty walls. I guess it's not so bad as I expected, though this place really is more a school and less a hospital pretending it's a school than I thought it would be. If nothing else, the scenery is beautiful. I open one eye, seeing the school books and bottles of pills arranged side by side on my desktop. Maybe this place is too much like a normal school after all. Whew. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, let's save it. Great new save state. Well, that is where I'm going to end it for tonight, because my throat is dying from talking so much. Oh well. I thank you all dearly for watching and enjoying this adventure with me. It was a bit of a rough start, but now I have the settings saved, I don't have to do anything else again. So let me oh yeah, screen's fucked up. Okay, there we go. Oh, but yeah, that is where I'm going to leave it off for tonight. I hope you all enjoyed. I most certainly did. This is quite a fun game, or novel, and it speaks to me more than it actually should. But anyway, that is going to be it for tonight. Tomorrow, I'll play some more Dead by Daylight. And yeah, that's it for this week. Ugh. Oh, it's tiring. Oh well.
I hope you all enjoyed. And I hope you all have a good night. Sleep well, and I'll see you all tomorrow, Friday. Well, that took a long time. Anyway, sleep well. Bye bye.